Yeah, guys, it was recently International Women's Day, and I'm really ashamed that I didn't mention this on the show, but I think we should mention it now because Lady Gaga posted a photo shoot with none other than Dylan Mulvaney in order to honor this national holiday. This is his post with Lady Gaga. Happy International Women's Day, with that little emoji that's like two girls dancing. Mm-hmm. You know that one?
I use that one all the time.
Very weird pose, by the way. Lady Gaga is like, she looks like a tech CEO. And then Dylan Mulvaney looks like someone who got kicked out of like a Vegas strip club. He's like creeping over Lady Gaga's shoulder.
I'm not dancing today in honor of Bucky.
Okay. Do you have the post here?
I do. Here we go. So here's
it's giving creepy vibes. Like, what is this pose?
If you put your mind to it and you work hard and you never give up and you do not listen to the rejection, you can achieve anything that life throws your way.
Like, I'm sorry, what does this have to do with women?
It's the generic flowery language that dominates all discourse these days.
And I'm looking through these comments on Dylan Mulvaney's post. I don't see hardly any negativity. I see one person saying this is so degrading to real women. I think that's the only negative comment here. But Lady Gaga apparently was appalled to see negativity from people who are not a fan of Dylan Mulvaney, and made an entire essay in her next post to defend Dylan Mulvaney and essentially simp for Dylan Mulvaney in response. So here's what Lady Gaga had to say. Let me begin. It's appalling to me that a post about National Women's Day by Dylan Mulvaney and me would be met with such vitriol and hatred. When I see a newspaper reporting on hatred but calling it backlash, I feel it's important to clarify that hatred is hatred, and this kind of hatred is violence.
Wrong.
So someone in the comments saying that they don't like Dylan Mulvaney and that this post is degrading to real women, that's violence, just so we're clear. So she continues.
Words don't mean anything anymore.
She continues. Backlash would imply that people who love or respect Dylan and me didn't like something we did. This is not backlash. This is hatred. So it's hatred and it's violence, and it's not backlash. It is not surprising, given the immense work, that it's obvious we still have to do as a society to make room for transgender lives to be cherished and upheld by all of us. I feel very protective in this moment, not only of Dylan, but of the trans community, who continues to lead the way with their endless grace and inspiration in the face of constant degradation, intolerance, and physical, verbal, and mental violence.
Words are not violence.
Sorry, what is verbal violence?
Words are not violence.
What is mental violence?
Mental is not, mental violence is not violence at all. Hatred isn't even violence.
Physical violence is violence.
Yeah.
Violence is violence. Words aren't violence.
How about me? I'm like ambivalent. Is ambivalence violence? Is my complete lack of interest in what they're doing violence too?
Oh yeah, anything but blind celebration and affirmation and praise and basically worship, that's violence.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I forgot to make my yearly mention that International Women's Day was a creation of the USSR.
Oh yeah, a few people know this.
Yep. I forgot. Thank you, Corey Anderson.
You're like, wow.
We're gonna read that one now. I mentioned that last year. I forgot to mention it this year. It is. Was it Stalin was the one who introduced, or was Lenin? It was Stalin, I think, was the one who brought us International Women's Day.
Thank you, Stalin. Feminist icon, Stalin.
Also, remember, so silence is also violence. So you're not allowed to be silent about it either, which would be me most of the time.
Yes.
So I can't really win in this situation.
So you're violent, hateful, and a bigot because you didn't leave a heart emoji
and I don't care
in the comments.
And because I don't care.
Yeah, you should care. She continued, I certainly do not speak for this community, but I have something to say. I hope all women will come together to honor us all for International Women's Day. And may we do that always until the day that all women are celebrated equally. that all people are celebrated equally. A day where people of all gender identities are celebrated on whichever holiday speaks to them. Because people of all gender identities and races deserve peace and dignity. So we won't have equality until everyone gets a holiday. Basically, that's the benchmark.
I would like her to distribute all of her wealth to all, not even all of the women in the world. I would like her to evenly distribute all of her wealth equally amongst all the women in the United States to bring all of us just, not even the men, all of the women and the trans women just a little bit closer to equal.
Let's see. Her estimated net worth as of 2021 is $320 million.
Perfect.
So
there's not even 320 million women in this country. So that's like $2 a woman.
That's some formidable UBI. So I'm waiting for my Lady Gaga check in the mail.
Your $2 Lady Gaga check to make you equal with her.
I'm waiting. She finished the post. May we all come together and be loving, accepting, warm, welcoming. May we all stand and honor the complexity and challenge of trans life that we do not know, but can seek to understand and have compassion for. I love people too much to allow hatred to be referred to as backlash. People deserve better. End credits.
The inability to let words mean what they're supposed to mean is annoying. The fact that the internet has created a world where everybody lives in this bubble of flowery language and platitudes which don't mean anything, not really. Internet backlash is not violence. Silence is not violence. Not having an opinion on something is not violence. Not blindly affirming something is not violence. And the inability to let that word mean what it's supposed to mean because you feel some sense of a desire to protect these people is kind of strange to me. But they come from a different group, right? Like Hollywood does kind of live and breathe and exist in platitudes and kumbaya. We have to all just get along, and that that kumbaya, we have to all just get along mentality, which anybody in the real world understands isn't really how things work, I guess. It's a product of being a celebrity in a bubble.
I think that more so than the celebrity has to do with it, this is the way that a woman speaks when she is 37 and childless.
Think so?
Honestly.
Yeah. If the mothering instinct that would normally be redirected towards her children has been moved to,
Like, unfortunately, Lady Gaga's maternal instincts and her femininity, it's been hijacked by media, indoctrination, social media affirmation for espousing these delusional beliefs. Yep. I think that her surrogate child is this community that she feels bizarrely attached to. I mean, I don't know if you know this, but Lady Gaga for a long time has been specifically loved by the gay and trans communities. Like, they love Lady Gaga. They're the people in the comments calling her mother. They're literally calling you mother, and you are treating them like your children, like your surrogate children, because you have none of your own. Yeah. And you feel like these are these downtrodden, marginalized people who are disadvantaged, and you just are reaching out to them in loving acceptance, and they need you, and that makes you feel good about yourself. But it's a completely misdirected instinct. It's a good instinct, but it's being totally hijacked.
There's a $20 one from Roman Nation, I believe, that we missed. Did we get that one?
Oh, sorry about that. R.I.P. Mr. Bocus. As far as Andrew Tate is concerned, the powers that be have already played their hand. They will probably just pay them out to make it go away. Well, that seems to be what the accusers want anyway. But it's interesting that, Dylan Mulvaney didn't need to say anything. Dylan Mulvaney didn't stand up for himself. He, mobilized Lady Gaga, this person with a huge platform and thousands of her supporters, to essentially be his mercenaries.
It's funny. I'm going to equate it back to the show that I've been watching called Third Watch. There's this character named Doc. and he's been an EMS worker for 15 years, and he's very big in social causes. And one of the things that he's constantly criticized for is that he gets involved too heavily in these people's lives, right? They're like, it's good to care, but there is such a thing as like inserting yourself where you're not really needed or wanted.
Oh,
right?
yeah. And it's also like not compassionate to someone to make them your project.
Yeah, and that's kind of what this comes in the show is like people are like, look, it's good that you care about these people, but sometimes, and there's multiple situations.
Thank you.
There's multiple situations where it goes too far and it causes problems.
Right.
And that's what it feels like. A lot of it is like for a lot of celebrities, they've got the time, they've got the money. Maybe not as many family ties, and they attach themselves to these social causes. This will only get worse as more and more young celebrities identify themselves as activists rather than human beings most of the time. It's just going to be worse.
It's just insane that, there are so many women in the world who actually are marginalized and actually do need someone with a platform to speak up for them or call for change in those cultures. And instead of talking about any of that, let's talk about this mega rich Dylan Mulvaney who became famous and got a bunch of brand deals off of dressing up like a little girl and running around in a public park in high heels. Like, is this now the face of women's empowerment and women's rights and equality? It's just so embarrassing. Like, I get secondhand embarrassment from watching this.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.